Welcome, Catherine. We have some people trickling in, and so we will make sure we get up to quorum, at least give it a couple minutes before we get started. But thank you for being here. I do see some folk trickling in, so we'll give it another minute or two. If you want to open your Rev account, send your meeting bot. I'm not sure if that'll be successful if our panelists will welcome it in, but we can always get good notes and recordings of this as well. Cool. Let's dive in here. I want to share my screen to a brief slide deck, just introing myself and then moving on into the tool as I really intro you to some of the workflows that are frequented by my customers. So, welcome everybody. If you are here for the Rev webinar, you have reached the right location. Um, I'm Hunter Saltzgiver. We're talking today from charge document to the courtroom, and we really do have a comprehensive, complete workflow on Rev. So I'm excited to share that with you. Want to flash this on the screen? Feel free to take a screenshot or jot this down. We'll follow up with some information to contact us as well. But the information I'm sharing today might be dense. It might be overwhelming, and you might not have questions ready right at the end of this time. But we'd love to meet with you. That's what I do all day for Rev as a CSM and a defense specialist. I meet with our legal clients, help them to recognize the workflows that are possible within Rev in order to achieve better outcomes on the other end of their cases. I do want to intro Rev a bit, not making any assumptions that all of you are customers or that you know everything about Rev. And there's a great story to tell there. Once I'm done telling you a little bit about Rev, we are going to share the screen, get right into the tool, and talk about it as a tool so that we know, tools can be used by a myriad of people. A first-year lawyer will see worse results from tools than a fifth-year lawyer, truly because of your experience and depth of questioning. So we'll help you get up to speed, maybe acting like a more tenured lawyer inside of Rev by the end of this webinar. Okay. At the very end, we will leave room for Q&A. Feel free to drop those questions into the chat. One of my friends here in the room that works with Rev will elevate those questions to me at the end of the time. Cool. Let me tell you a bit about Rev. Rev's been around for 15 years, since 2010, 16 years. How about that? And it's important to note that because a lot of the AI options, we're going to talk a lot about AI today within Rev's tool. A lot of the AI options out there for you, they've come around in the last couple years. They've been built to kind of fabric cobbled together for you. That's not Rev's story. We started as a human first business, and we still have a large amount of human transcription work that gets done on Rev. So, why is it important that we started with human? It helped us train our own proprietary speech to text. That speech to text is what gives you accurate transcription, right, within your editor. We give you a full comprehensive editor, and we know that junk in is junk out. Okay. And so we want to make sure that you're getting the most accurate transcript into these AI tools so that you get the most accurate citations, ability to verify, and the whole thing. If you are interested in human services, especially for the courtroom, just know that Rev does service you. We have many ways to get a human transcript, some of which are even, page lined out to be ready for a court presented that way. I won't talk about those services too much on this call, but if you have follow-up questions about that, I'd be happy to send you some paperwork, link you with the right people to talk about that, okay? Cool. Let me dive out of this and dive right into the tool. I want to orient us to what we're seeing here and talk just briefly about kind of the three steps that we want you to participate in here at Rev. First is We want you to upload all of your evidence. Anything that requires review and is part of the discovery process, we want you to bring that to us. So I'll identify a little bit about how to upload, where those uploads go. Okay. Secondly, we want you to get as many insights as you can. Find all the intelligent parts of that evidence as quickly as possible. And we feel that it's a necessary part of that AI motion to send you citations to make sure that we are giving you something referenceable, validate it yourself with your own eyes and verify that it's useful to your case. Okay. Lastly, and I'm excited to share, there's a bit that I won't be able to show you today, but releases to your account tomorrow. We want to be a part of that document creation, your drafting of a motion, your cross-examination questioning, things like that. We want to be a part of helping you achieve once you have that insight in hand. Looking here at the home screen, pretty obvious to me, I want to bring my file straight to this big modal here. That could be MP4s, that could be MP3s. We've dealt with audio and video for a very long time, and we are extremely successful with those, giving you accurate individual transcripts, summaries, AI chat. All of that's available on an individual level. We have a lot of integrations. I encourage you to use these to the extent that your firm already participates with these integrations. They're really helpful in getting things into Rev more quickly. We have zip file uploads. I think those are great as well. And we also have links. And one caution to my defense lawyers, you get a lot of links that are behind paywalls and passwords. Unfortunately, we're not as well capable to handle those. But we do see a lot of cases nowadays being posted to things like YouTube and whatnot. And so if it's an open source link, you can go grab that, okay, and use it as part of your consideration. When you upload files, let me share a couple more ways to get things in. We have an AI note taker. I'll click on this briefly just to say you can connect your calendar, but even if you don't want to connect your calendar, you could paste a link. So even for this webinar right now, you could go grab this right here, paste this link right here, and you could send a meeting bot to this link. Oh, it's a special link for this one. Okay. Oh, that's my agenda. Sweet. You could paste a meeting link here and have a bot attend. As long as the host welcomes it in, you're going to get an accurate transcript delivered right back to your private My Files folder. Okay. A couple other ways to capture information. We do give you the ability to record straight to your computer. I think that's a great way to do things when you're sitting down for in-person client meetings. Sometimes our intake is done over the phone, but then your first meeting with the client, you would want to come and press record. Second thing to do here is to notify you that we do have a Rev application you can download. It's here. We give you a nice option here. And that application, to the extent that your phone is secure, I would encourage you to download that application. You're able to record straight to your phone. A lot of my defense firms have an investigator on staff. They get witness interviews and things like that, but they want to make sure that they're filling out those interviews with some of their own, and they use Rev's app. Maybe they have been using a Plod device before or some archaic kind of press record and record it to a cassette. This is really useful because it gets it right into Rev right away for you to start gaining intelligence on it. Okay. So we can upload files. We can port them over from an integration. We can link with our calendar, and we can record through both the web platform and the app. Once your files are in Rev, we take security pretty seriously around here. We know that a lot of our defense lawyers specifically are working with sensitive content. I deal with some people that are working in child sex crimes and things like that. You can bring sensitive content to Rev. We do have ways to make that only available to you, and that's what My Files is. Shared with me, share it directly with one other person that's in your account, no one else. And we have a lot of paralegals that form clips, which I'll show you how to do in a moment. They share those clips directly with the lawyer as a way to bolster the case or say, hey, don't watch that whole dash cam footage. Just pay attention to the key moment that is going to rebut the charge document. Okay. And then we have this concept of workspaces, and workspaces are shared folders. So we do have a lot of our clients that invite more than just the lawyer into the account. And so a case manager might be uploading to one of these shared workspaces in order for a lawyer, paralegal, or someone else to stumble upon later. Today, we're going to look at People v. Ellis. This is a case that was public, all the body footage and stuff we pulled from a public site. But I will admit, as we're going through some of this, we have some synthetic documents that we've created in order to bolster the demo. I'm telling you this now because I know that our AI is so good. We're going to pick out that some of these documents are synthetic. And, the goal is not to pull wool over anyone's eyes. That's part of the magic of Rev is that we're actually taking you directly to those moments and letting you see for yourself. When my lawyers get all the files in, they are sitting there going, what do I start with? And I did talk to lawyers before Rev who were basically looking at the body cam. They knew what the charge document was. They had briefly scanned the police report, and they said, I'm going to watch the longest video first because likely that's the first arriving officer, and that's who's going to have the most information on their body cam. Okay. Not the greatest way to do it, but I understand why that logic exists. With Rev, we're able to consider all of these files at once by selecting, okay, and then clicking on Analyze, which will take us into this Insights modal over here. Insights is how Rev looks at many files at once and cites all of the areas that we find the answers within a modal. I'll take you there in just a moment. Briefly, before I do, I want you to know you do get summaries on each of these individually, so you can get a decent understanding just from this view. We do give you ways to sort, and so I do have firms that maybe a case manager or someone before the lawyer is actually coming through and reviewing these files, and they want to go ahead and label them with some sort of importance for whoever comes along next. And this is a great way to do it with your own color system. Let me go ahead and click on Analyze. What it's going to do is it's going to pull all of these files into an Insight session. Okay, we have a lot of ways to get into Insights. This is my preferred method. I will show you a different way from the home screen, and within Insights, you can absolutely bring files in there as well. Awesome. What am I looking at? Okay. Rev has our own proprietary software for the speech to text. That's how we get audio or video into accurate AI transcripts. Okay. Recently, in the last 4 years, LLMs have come around, and there's a lot of power to LLMs. They're able to consider the power of the internet and all the thought that is there, and we can point that directly at your files. There's LLMs out there, and the challenge with the ones that are outside of Rev is that maybe they lead you down a path that you cannot verify. And you don't know if it considered any of these as much as it considered anything else that's in its training base. Rev has curated this environment so that you have all that power of the internet, right? The AI, the LLMs, but it is only pointed at your files and your evidence that you bring into this side modal. Now, throughout the case, your investigator or you are going to go get some supplementary materials, right? Your own interviews of your clients that are going to stand up against the initial interrogation. You can bring those into this modal and add them to what you are considering over here. First things first, I like to get a sense of what I am looking at. I mean, obviously, I'm looking at a few body cams. I see here this is like a CCTV video. It just doesn't have audio. It's okay. We can still review it. Rev's just not going to be able to grab citable text from it. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and create an evidence overview. This is a prompt that Rev has built along with its partners and prompt engineers that we have on staff in order to give you the best output from what we estimate from those conversations that will give you the highest level of understanding in the quickest time possible for what is going on inside of your case. Okay. What do my customers bring to me? Medical reports, police reports, all right? All sorts of witness interviews, statements, surrounding documents. I do have lawyers that upload their notes. As long as the PDFs are under 50 megabytes, under 500 pages, and they do need to be OCR'd, which means that they're text-based and not image-based, we are going to do a great job of analyzing those files here on the side, okay? It does mean that for the time being, you might have to splice a couple of those things, but we are working on overcoming some of those size challenges as well. So we'll be able to help you down the road for some of those extremely large files, which we know do get dropped on your doorstep, okay? Each one of these numbers is a citation to a file that exists on the right. I can hover to see it. I can click on it to see the context for it. Okay. I can scrub before and after inside of this file to see exactly what's going on. Okay. And if I want to, if it makes sense to for the case, I can pull this citation out as a clip. Okay. Now we're looking for those magic moments. I work with one lawyer, he calls it a kill shot. We want to make sure that we are looking at the charge document, the probable cause affidavit, and that we are finding the moments that are inconsistent, incorrect based on the rest of the evidence that we've gathered. Okay? It might not be in this one short citation. So when I'm forming a clip, we can absolutely make that clip longer by dragging this here to highlight more text. We can absolutely make this longer by scrubbing the video itself. I did have a DUI lawyer. The probable cause affidavit was talking about how, things were swerving throughout the road and he didn't stop in time and was following a car too closely. Well, none of that is audible language that we're going to be able to find in text. That is okay. You are still able to choose using the audio runtime what clip you make. So that particular lawyer during our working session pulled the clip of the car and said, hey, look, there are no lines on the road for him to be swerving. The car is clearly well ahead of him. Sent that directly to the prosecutor and said, do we want to appeal? Do we want to consider these charges once more? Right? Now, here's an excellent thing that I could spend the time going through here on the webinar. We're doing a little bit of that movie magic here where we put things in the oven and they're just ready right after. I'm going to go ahead and ask a follow-up of this, knowing that this is exactly what it's saying. It's telling me that this is a case about um, an officer that had been shot, that my person was accused of that, Mr. Ellis, right? And that there actually might have been multiple locations and multiple shots. Okay, there are some conflicts and gaps that I'm going to want to do and ask questions to follow up. Okay, down here in this modal here, you can ask any question you want to follow up. And the same thing will be true. We're considering the power of the internet or pointing it directly at your evidence. Okay. I want to bring my own thoughtful question into this modal. I'm going to do that right now. Okay. What I'm going to type here is compare the arrest report and the charge documents with the body-worn camera to list any inconsistency. Okay. I'm going to go through as an ethical lawyer and I'm going to look at a lot of this stuff myself, maybe on 2x speed. I don't want to miss anything. My historicals, they rely on that. I don't feel comfortable turning over every part of the process to AI possibly, but I absolutely want to see what AI is telling me is the first place to go and where I need to start my case and spend a lot of my time. Now, this might be a question that you loved the response for, that you want to return back to, that you say, okay, well, I don't want to have to type that whole long thing again. Rev does give you this ability. I'm going to scroll up here and miss it. The chance to save these questions as templates. All I would need to do is come in here and say that this is a discrepancy report comparing charge docs to evidence. Maybe I want to go ahead and make this defense as a tag so that I can always find it. Okay. I'm going to create this as a template. And now that I know that I liked that question, I liked the response that Rev gave me, now I have that report right here ready to serve up for my next case. And if I had multiple people inside my account, guess what would be available for them as well the second that I create this? So usually we have firms with one whiz kid, they come in, they enter in prompts into Rev, they save them for the account, and now we have ways to get specific to your firm intelligence on all your future files. Okay. Rev has a lot of canned summaries for you, some of which will make sense for your use case, and others of which will be like, wait, why am I summarizing like an email for all this evidence? That doesn't quite make sense, right? Maybe you really liked a bit of this, but you wanted to add to it. Maybe you're specific to a certain state, and you want to add some things about your state in here that you know exist. When you create a summary, it's important to know that this box right here where this prompt is can manage a lot of information. So I know it's a very small box, but I'm going to briefly show you what I've done for one of my DUI lawyers recently. He passed me this checklist. He said, hey, we get a DUI case. We look for every single one of these items inside of every single video we get. And if any of them shows up, we know we have a case to stand on, a way to get our client off, or a way to instill doubt. Okay. Let me take a brief sip of water here. I took this. I copied this. I pasted this right into the Rev Insights modal. And within minutes, they were able to layer their way of thinking onto their evidence and use an LLM thoughtfully. Okay. Now, Rev, for our enterprise customers, we're not training on a single bit of the questions you ask or the answers that are given in here, okay? So in that way, it's a very safe environment. I think there's a lot of places outside of Rev that might lead you down a path to where you are absolutely open to that risk, okay? Once I create a session, I always want to remember what session that is and come back to it. So I'm going to name this People v. Ellis, and I'm going to give it today's date. And this is going to make it so I can always return to this session. I leave the page, and it's right back there for me. Okay. That's how we want to think about this so that we can always keep coming back to our same cases. If we need to add more, we can. Cool. Future casting. I want to do that just a bit because if the first one is upload, the second one is insight, the third step to Rev is drafting the document, filling out the report, making things court ready. Okay, let me take another prompt here that I have because what I want to do is I want to draft a statement of facts. I want to take a look at this entire case, knowing that there's the probable cause in the charge document, and I want to say, wait a minute. What are the actual items you can find that I would be able to put together, statement of facts as a motion, that I could present to the court and say, hey, in all these areas, there are discrepancies that maybe say my client has reasonable doubt is not guilty of this. In a future state of Rev, this response will be breakoutable into an editable canvas. That canvas you'll be able to save and generate documents from and share those documents with the rest of your team. This releases tomorrow. So as early as tomorrow, you'll be able to take this statement of facts, say, hey, push it into a document, edit that document, and then save it into your case file for others to tread upon. Similarly, these sessions that we're having right now inside of Insights, they are private to you. No one else inside your account, if you do share your account, can see them. And soon, if you want to share those things with other people in your account, well, great. Generate a document that includes all of your insights, export that document into the case folder that you are looking at, and then allow other people to upload or to visit that case folder. Okay? Oh, geez, I love this. We're giving really long responses here. I get to choose whether I take the citations with me or not, and each citation I get to review. This right here is a citation, what it looks like when it's coming from a PDF or Word document. Okay. We are not holding the source back from you. If you wanted to see the source of that PDF, you absolutely could. Okay. Cool. Let's take a look here. Specific, found in the incident, nature of the incident. Sweet. Reviewing, stop, hey, okay. Seeing what's before or after. I like it. Clipping this because I know that I'm going to want to use this piece. It's part of my statement of facts. And if they say, hey, wait a minute, I didn't know what piece of evidence that showed up for, I just want to have it ready right away for them. Okay, let me go ahead and scrub this here. Can I? There we go. Save this clip. Where does it go to right now? It's going to my generated clips here. I can move any file to a shared space that I want. Rev security minded, so we're going to make certain that some of these things private to you before we just go sharing them with other people in the account. Okay. Sweet. Really quickly, I do want to take you so that you know, Rev is doing this one-to-many files, one prompt looking at many files and citing them. We do not hold back going and visiting a single file on its own. And I do have a lot of lawyers that go and visit that single file while the responses are being given in the other window. Okay. Play it at 2 times speed. I know that's helpful. Every template that you create or ones that we have for you will be available here. These are editable, which is a great thing because sometimes we get you very close with our summaries, and all we need to do is just remove a couple things or add a couple things to make them ready for our presentation or our court binder or notebook. Okay. Any question you ask down here will be answered with timestamps. So let's just summarize this specific transcript, not looking at multiple. And let's get timestamps to help us go directly to the moments within this video that we care about, that we're going to want to see or that sound interesting before we just blanketly look at the whole darn thing. Okay. Remember, Rev's pulling from the text currently, but also releasing very, very soon will have image capabilities to start giving you intelligence on your images. So I'm extremely excited about that. Okay. Same thing here. Click on it, go straight to that point in the audio and video. And I have a crazy amount of paralegals that are coming in, doing a lot of this discovery work for their lawyer, highlighting the key moments and downloading the key moments with a timestamp associated. Okay. When you download this with a timestamp associated, if your lawyer has access to this transcript, which they should, because you have it in a common case folder, they'll be able to click on those timestamps and hop right into this experience, which is an awesome thing. So if they kind of call shenanigans on their paralegal, I don't know why they're sending me that quote. Just go right in, look at it for context, right? These are the awesome workflows I'm helping my people discover. I'm like really excited to share them with you here today. Just a brief bit to summarize, right? Ways to bring your files in. They're going to private to you folders unless you create folders that are shared. We have so many firms that are sharing folders so that it's a common space for their cases, right? Once the value is inside of Rev, all of your files, and I do help people with things that maybe I haven't mentioned as part of a case. Like I've helped defense lawyers with jury responses that they got on a Friday and they needed to understand a prompt that they could give in order to make the jury selection properly on a Monday, right? So bring all of the evidence or documents that you want to consider over here to the right, and then start prompting against those. You can make your own prompts. You can select prompts that Rev has. And absolutely, I encourage you to rename these something that makes sense because they save. Once you have an idea looking at the entire case, what you want to look at more specifically, or maybe there's one file that's cited much more often than another, I really want you clicking in, finding the context, clipping it, or even going to view that individual transcript for more understanding. The last leg of the mile that I'm a little bit limited to show you today because it really does release tomorrow. We've been ingesting it inside of Rev for some time is, okay, now you have all your citations. You know what you want to do. Let's start drafting that document. Let's start making those edits inside of Rev so that we don't feel the need to come and copy and paste these things into an outside document, saving that maybe like a Word document or something like that. Okay. I do want to open it up to questions. We're in the last, 5-10 minutes of this thing. Does anyone have any questions that they'd like to ask about what they've seen today, or maybe something I didn't show today that, man, you came to see and we just didn't talk about it?
Hey Hunter, it's Olivia. I do have a couple that I've received. So the first one is how many files at once or what sizes of files work on Rev?
Fantastic. So first, let's talk about how many files at once. It's depending on the plan that you are in. If you are on a pro or enterprise plan, we're going to give you a lot more capabilities over here. My enterprise customers, I believe, can participate with up to 500 files over here. Uh, all of those files need to meet certain size limitations. So let me say those a little bit clearly. The audios and videos, Rev's done since 2010. We absolutely handle those. I'd be surprised if you were able to find a video that was too large. Generally, we go up to like 17 hours runtime on videos and things like that. So you should be just fine. I think 20 gigabytes is our limit on any one given video or audio. For the PDFs, those are specific, and we know you get very large ones. We need those to each be under 50 megabytes, under 500 pages, and we do need those to be text-based documents, right? So if you've got some really big charts and graphs, we just need to make sure that we've OCR'd those things before bringing them to Rev, and Rev is absolutely going to start OCRing to with great skill in the near future, so we can help you with those challenges for sure.
Okay, thanks, Hunter. That was great. Another one we have is does Rev do case law?
So, Rev is not a case law generator. I do believe the power of the internet, you could finagle this to give you some case law back, but remember, Rev's claim to fame is being able to cite your source. And if we're not able to cite the case law within Rev, I'm not sure I give that as much trust. I see a lot of things out there in the internet right now of lawsuits that are happening because case law was improperly cited. I would trust wherever you currently get your case law. And I would add, bring that, whatever you find in that trusted source for case law, over to us. Put that case law alongside your evidence and start leveraging it inside of this insights modal. I think that's a great way to work. I work with personal injury lawyers and internal investigators, things of that sort. And oftentimes, they're basically going against a standard, right? And that's what case law is the standard, the legal precedent. Um, I encourage my personal injury lawyers, bring the training document that this driver messed up on into Rev and compare the evidence to the training, right? So I would encourage you to bring your case law to Rev. I'm not sure we're the best place to come asking for case law and precedents in that way.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Hunter. Okay, one more that I've got here. What charges do you have for storage?
Oh, I like that question. It's a timely question. I'm gonna answer it as it is today, and I'm gonna say get in where you fit in. We do not currently charge for file storage. You might have a couple limitations based on the plan that you're in, but I believe if you're in Pro or Enterprise, you're gonna be free and clear. Uh, to upload just about all you want. Okay. Um, Maybe we think about that differently in the future. I know that there's lawyers out there with terabytes, but that's not how we're thinking about it currently. We'd love for you to bring your evidence, and it should be a trusted place to keep your evidence, knowing that we are a very secure environment. We're SOC 2 Type 2 and have the ability to be HIPAA and CJIS and things of that nature.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. I have two more here in the chat. One is there a particular LLM that Rev uses for its queries? For instance, should the prompts be like those you would use in ChatGPT or Claude models? Is Rev built on one of those engines or another?
Most of what you're getting delivered back to you through this insights is through Anthropic. It's our own instance, right? So we're not sending it out to Anthropic for consistent training and things like that. We've acquired our own instance. We run it through our own servers that are managed by AWS. So you should feel very comfortable using Rev in a similar manner to Claude, knowing that we've anchored it in your evidence rather than Claude that maybe is kind of more open around. It's going to go grab anything it can to satisfy you. It's trying to make you happy. That's a little bit less of what Rev's necessarily trying to do there.
Okay, cool. And one that kind of piggybacks off of that. How does security work with Rev?
Yeah. Your files are not duplicated on Rev, right? One file is one file for all time. Um, what that means is that if you delete a file from Rev, it's gone forever. I find that to be pretty comfortable. I like that. In addition to that, each user will have passwords. We have two-factor authentication. We have the ability to apply SSO to our contracted customers. For our contracted customers, we offer HIPAA, CJIS. We are SOC 2 Type 2, which is a pretty big compliance measure. It takes years to get. And because we were organically built from, 2010 on, we haven't really fabric cobbled things together. We operate a lot on our own systems, and that's really important when we get into these security conversations. So, um, you know, in a past life where we worked with media customers like 10 years ago, I would have told you no one wants you to know who the next bachelor is. We are very much so trusted by some of the Fortune 500 companies out there, some of the biggest firms and CRAs that you know of. And the reason for that is because of this security measure. So, if security is your interest, I would really encourage you to go find some white papers on Rev, talk to a person that works with Rev as well as I can just send some information to you. We've got that pretty locked tight. It's a really awesome place to play if security is your interest.
Thank you so much, Hunter. Those are all the questions that I have. Again, if there's anything else that anyone has, feel free to put it in our Q&A right now, while we're still here live. If anything else comes to mind, we'll be following up with you guys all through email. So you have that as an avenue as well.
It's really been a pleasure. This is what I do all day. It's just maybe a little bit more interactive with customers. If you need some of that interaction, please follow up. We'd love to meet you.